We were sold a miracle, a beautifully packaged trillion-dollar lie. The pitch to corporate America was incredibly simple. Fire your expensive staff, plug in the AI, and watch your profit margins absolutely explode. Back in 2022 and 2023, the media force-fed us a very specific narrative. We were told that artificial intelligence was the ultimate cheat code for business. Wall Street went into a blind frenzy. Trillions of dollars were poured into server farms, silicon chips, and massive foundation models. Every CEO on the planet rushed to announce their new AI strategy, just to keep their stock price from tanking. They were absolutely terrified of being left behind. But as the dust settles in 2026, inside the boardrooms of the companies actually using this technology, the panic is setting in. The smartest companies on Earth are waking up to a terrifying reality. The machine isn't saving them money, it is bleeding them dry, because there is a massive, gaping hole in the math. And it all comes down to a very dirty phrase that Silicon Valley desperately wanted to keep hidden from the public: inference cost. You see, when you hire a human being, you pay a fixed salary. Whether they answer 10 emails or 100 emails, their paycheck stays exactly the same. But when you hire an AI, you pay for every single thought it has, every time you type a prompt, every time the machine scans a document, every time it generates a single word, a tiny, invisible meter ticks up. And these microscopic fractions of a penny are quietly snowballing into catastrophic financial black holes. People think that the expensive part of AI is building the brain. Training a giant model like ChatGPT costs hundreds of millions of dollars. But that is just a one-time expense. The real bleeding happens after the AI is turned on. Industry reports now show that up to 80% of an AI system's total lifetime cost comes from inference. It is a machine that never stops eating. And right now, companies are feeding it an absolute buffet. But the skyrocketing server bills are only half of the nightmare. The other half is the quality. We were promised a flawless, hyper-intelligent supercomputer. Instead, we got a highly confident, very expensive intern. An intern that constantly lies to your face. The tech industry calls them hallucinations. But in the real world, a hallucination isn't a funny quirk. It is a massive legal and financial liability. We have seen major airlines forced by judges to honor fake refund policies simply because their AI customer service bot made it up on the spot. Lawyers have been publicly humiliated and sanctioned for submitting fake legal cases to federal courts, all because they blindly trusted an AI to write their briefs. And this brings us to the ultimate paradox of the AI revolution. The entire point of buying this technology was to replace human workers. But because the machine cannot be trusted to operate on its own, companies are realizing they can't actually fire anyone. They have to keep the human employee just to babysit the machine. Think about how insane that is. Instead of paying one human's salary, corporations are now paying the human's salary, plus the monthly software subscription, plus the skyrocketing computing costs. The AI didn't replace the worker. It just became the world's most expensive middle manager. Let's look at the actual job market data. For years, the headlines screamed that AI would cause mass unemployment. But recent economic studies paint a bizarre picture. Roles requiring specific AI management skills have exploded. Companies are scrambling to hire experts who know how to integrate these massive language models into their legacy systems. So, instead of shrinking their payroll, the biggest companies in the world are actually expanding their tech departments. They are adding high-salary positions just to keep the AI from breaking. Meanwhile, the mundane tasks that AI was supposed to flawlessly automate still require a human in the loop. If an AI drafts a contract, a human lawyer still has to read every single word to ensure it didn't invent a fake legal precedent. If an AI writes code, a human developer still has to test it to make sure it doesn't leave a back door open for hackers. The productivity gains are entirely swallowed by the friction of verification. You end up paying for the machine's speed, only to pay a human even more to clean up its mess. The financial world is finally starting to do the math. To justify the sheer amount of money being burned on servers and microchips, the AI industry needs to magically generate hundreds of billions of dollars in actual sustainable revenue. And right now, they are missing that target by a catastrophic margin. But the bill isn't just coming from the server racks, it's coming from the courtroom. The world is realizing that the knowledge AI absorbed was never free. The companies that built these massive brains scraped the internet. They took decades of human creativity and claimed it as their own. And now, the creators are fighting back. Publishers, authors, artists, and massive media conglomerates. They're all finally coming to collect. Companies thought they were building on a foundation of open information. They were actually building on a foundation of massive looming copyright liability. It is a legal tax that no spreadsheet can fully calculate. But there's another tax, one that is far more visceral and far more dangerous. Because AI isn't just power hungry, it is violently thirsty. To keep these massive server farms from literally melting, they rely on constant, aggressive cooling. And in many of the most drought-stricken regions on Earth, from the deserts of the American Southwest to arid industrial zones across the globe, these data centers act like giant industrial straws. They are sucking millions of gallons of fresh, potable water out of local aquifers every single day. They are competing for the exact same water that farmers need to grow our food and that local towns need to survive. We are literally evaporating our drinking water just so you can generate a digital avatar in 3 seconds. You can't run a trillion-parameter brain to summarize a 3-line email and expect the physics of the Earth to just accept it. The legal threats, the water consumption, the invisible API fees, it's forcing a reckoning. And if you look closely, you can already see the panic. Corporations aren't shouting about their AI miracles anymore. They're executing a quiet retreat. Look at the tech websites. Look at the software updates. The AI-first labels are being quietly peeled off the branding. Companies are realizing that their customers absolutely hate talking to glitchy, unhelpful bots. So they're backpedaling. They're quietly removing the automated systems and replacing them with human support teams again. And they're praying we don't notice. This retreat is devastating small and medium-sized businesses. A massive enterprise can absorb millions of dollars in experimental tech debt. But a local agency or a mid-sized firm, they were lured in by the promise of cheap, automated labor. They built their core operations on top of a proprietary AI model. And the moment they did that, they lost all control over their unit economics. They are entirely at the mercy of the Silicon Valley monopolies. And those monopolies are under immense pressure from their investors to show a profit. They cannot subsidize the cost of these models forever. Eventually, the venture capital money will dry up. The subsidized API costs will vanish. And the true, terrifying price of artificial intelligence will be passed directly to the consumer. This isn't a technological failure, it is an economic reality check. The technology is genuinely incredible. It can write, synthesize, and code at speeds that defy human capability. But the sheer physical energy required, the electricity, the water, the legal fees, the human babysitting, it represents a fundamental limit of physics and finance. The era of blind faith is over. The AI revolution is not dead, but the AI gold rush, the era of easy, cheap, automated miracles, is absolutely over. The survivors of this era will not be the companies that fired all their humans. The survivors will be the ones who realize that AI is simply a luxury, an incredibly expensive power tool that still requires a human hand to guide it. And for everyone else who bought into the trillion-dollar lie, the meter is still running, and the bill is about to break them.